Building a massive stone mountain in the middle of a blazing desert without modern cranes, steel tools, or mythical alien technology sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare. But 4,500 years ago, the ancient Egyptians pulled off history's greatest engineering heist using nothing but pure human willpower, calculated physics, and a truly shocking amount of bread and beer. When you actually look at the mathematical reality behind the Great Pyramid of Giza, the sheer scale of production is completely unhinged because it consists of roughly 2.3 million individual stone blocks, meaning that if you break down the construction timeline across 20 years, workers had to quarry, cut, transport, and perfectly place a 2.5-ton boulder every single 2 minutes, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, without a single moment of rest. To make this happen, the Egyptians had to build a massive, complex industrial supply chain that started right in the limestone quarries just a few hundred meters from the pyramid base, where workers used wooden wedges soaked in water that would expand inside the rock cracks to naturally crack open giant slabs of stone, instead of the popular Hollywood movie myth of millions of starved, whipped slaves being dragged to their deaths under a burning sun. Modern archaeological excavations have completely shattered this narrative by uncovering an entire lost city of the pyramid builders right next to the monuments, revealing that the workforce was actually composed of a highly organized, elite corporate hierarchy of around 20,000 to 30,000 paid free laborers who volunteered their time during the Nile's annual flooding season when farming was physically impossible. These workers were divided into specialized, highly competitive construction squads that functioned exactly like ancient sports teams, leaving behind actual red ochre graffiti inside the deepest, hidden chambers of the pyramid with hilarious team names like the Friends of Khufu or the Drunks of Menkaure, constantly trying to outbuild and outpace each other for extra glory and rations. Speaking of rations, these weren't starving peasants eating dirt. The excavated animal bones show that the workers were fed a premium diet of prime cattle, sheep and goats slaughtered daily from royal farms, paired with an endless supply of a thick, nutrient-dense ancient beer that acted as both a clean hydration source and a massive caloric fuel to keep their physical energy up during brutal 12-hour shifts. Moving those multi-ton blocks across miles of blistering desert sand presented a massive physics problem, because standard wooden wheels would instantly sink under the weight and get trapped in the dunes. So these ancient geniuses bypassed wheels entirely and placed the massive stones onto giant wooden sledges with curved runners. To prevent the heavy sledges from plowing massive piles of sand in front of them, they assigned a specific worker to stand on the very front of the moving rock, acting as a human liquid distributor, who aggressively splashed a precise amount of water onto the sand right before the runners hit it. A brilliant trick that perfectly compacted the sand grains, reduced the required pulling force by a staggering 50%, and allowed a small team of sweaty stickmen to effortlessly slide a block weighing as much as an SUV like a winter sleigh. Once they dragged the blocks to the base, they faced the terrifying challenge of lifting them 480 feet into the sky. Temporary ramps made of mud brick, Nile clay, and gypsum plaster that either wrapped around the pyramid like a giant spiral staircase or extended straight out into the desert, allowing teams to use primitive ropes, wooden levers, and wet mud lubrication to haul the stones upward step by step. As the pyramid grew higher, the internal structural engineering became a nightmare because millions of tons of stone pressing down would instantly crush any hollow room inside, forcing the architects to invent relieving chambers above the king's chamber by stacking giant 50-ton granite beams with hollow spaces between them to redirect the weight outward into the core of the pyramid instead of down onto the pharaoh's final resting place. Even more mind-boggling was their precision cutting. Despite having absolutely zero hard metals like iron or steel, stonecutters spent thousands of agonizing hours scraping solid granite using soft copper chisels and wooden mallets, utilizing loose quartz sand as a brutal abrasive inside the saw lines to let the hard sand crystals do the actual grinding. The alignment precision was so insane that the four sides of the Great Pyramid align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west, with only a fraction of a single degree of error. And the outer casing stones were fitted together so tightly that you literally cannot slide a modern credit card or a thin piece of paper between them. So when internet conspiracy theorists look at these massive structures and claim that ancient humans were too primitive to build them, and that aliens must have dropped them from space using anti-gravity beams, they are completely ignoring the dark, brutal reality of what human psychology, extreme engineering, and a highly motivated, fear-fueled workforce can achieve when a pharaoh demands the ultimate monument before his legacy goes viral.